Hello guys! This is again Drago42 to go with the SciCraft crew. Hey guys!
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
And for today's server tour, after a long time, we are joined by Cass. Hey buddy!
Hi.
So, if you don't know Cass, definitely check out his channel, because he has some pretty cool stuff on piston doors, mini-games, even survival mini-games, which is pretty cool I think. And yeah, a lot of technical Minecraft, so whenever you need some piston magic, piston extenders, I guess that's the place to look it up. And apart from that, we also have a bunch of people here. So one of them is XCOM.
Hey.
So you might have seen him to go one showing some fixes for Minecraft 1.12, fixing some ghost block stuff. So dear Mojang, maybe take a look at that. Would be nice to also have it in the game without us patching it every time you update. Then, what else do we have? T5 was already here in another server tour. Tiddle, or TDL, recently joined us. And we also have EJAR740. Unfortunately, couldn't make it today, but yeah, check the video description. There will be a link to his channel as well. All pretty cool folks that do some pretty cool stuff. But now I would say let's get to today's episode. And that... wait. Okay, maybe I should put on armor and not assume I can fly without an elytra. That makes sense. Okay, so first of all, we want to show you a brief update on our Nether hub. So as you can see, almost all the slots here are filled by now. And we actually have a plan for this one as well. It's not going to be a piston bolt, but something that we need since we expanded it. And the expansion of the Nether hub goes down here. So we have an additional layer in here by now. And you can see the similar gates as upstairs. So we have plenty of place now for additional piston bolts. One of them is already there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We have a lot of additional space now, so we can start a lot more projects. And then we have a bunch of utility things here, like a bunch of chests to store things temporarily, and a useful item dispenser. So I'm almost out of food, so let's just grab a bunch of steak. And I'm good again. And nice thing is, maybe someone can empty it. Just take out whatever is in there. I'm also gonna take a steak or two. And as you can see, we get a fresh box fenced here. And the empty ones go down here. The steak should be here. Yes. Yeah, then we also have a bunch of rockets. I should stock up on those. And some ender pearls. Well, I'm good with those. Yeah, quite useful, these things. If you know how to build one of those, I guess Mango, you have a tutorial on your channel?
I actually methods.
Oh, actually I thought. Okay, never mind. So, yeah, that's a quite nice extension here, I think. We roughly kept the theme that we had before. And it looks pretty good, I think. But let's not care too much about the aesthetics. We also have a bit of functionality. And I'm actually lost on which side it is.
This side.
This side? Where's this side?
South side
Over here.
Where I'm jumping.
Oh, so I'm not the only one left.
No, it takes just a little bit of time.
Yeah. There we are. Do we have here a mob switch. So this button activates and deactivates a wither-based mob switch. So we have a whole bunch of withers, I think 320. Basically captured in bedrock. And yeah, with this button we can activate a loader. So those chunks are loaded and they count to the mob cap, and that way no mobs spawn unless we have way too many people spread out over the Nether. That's quite a nice thing to have, especially if you want to build some large limestone contraption. This is super useful because you get rid of ghasts that will constantly wreck your build. Yeah, for now we'll leave it activated. Don't expect mob spawning, or don't want mob spawning in the Nether, but we'll want something else. So, did I forget anything about the Nether hub?
The display.
We changed out the slabs from sandstone to quartz.
Very important.
Yeah,
Very
some
important.
details. Yeah,
Display.
the display, if you want to know what that's about, check
Wait
out
for
Mango's
next
channel.
tour.
He already showed it, where he built it, or wait for one of the next server tours. But I would say we need to travel quite a bit, so let's already hop in the minecart. And yeah. So there's a subtle hint already on the screen what farm we are showing you guys today. So of course this is a slime farm. And it's not just a simple slime farm. I mean, we had one in the witch perimeter. But yeah, we thought we would take it a little higher or to the next level and make it a bit faster. So we're actually traveling now to an area which has a huge amount of slime chunks all close together, so they would all be in usable range for farms. And in fact we have something like 33 slime chunks there. But we actually didn't use all of them because yeah, the farms are already fast enough. And it takes quite some time. So, do we have anything for that time?
Maybe explain why we chose this place so far away?
Yeah, well, I mean, mostly because of the slime chunks, right?
Yeah, okay.
That's basically the reason. I think we could have gone a bit closer if we already knew we didn't use all the slime chunks, but...
It was close to the flower farm.
Yeah. So, let's travel a little further.
I think there was also another one that was quite close, but that had a lot of water in it, and we didn't feel like removing all the
that's
water.
also not nice. Yeah, I think, Mango, you even recorded some parts of the perimeter making, right?
Yeah.
So, let's all quickly run into this room. We'll show this in more detail in a second. But let's just hop through the portal. And there we are. Oop. Can't see anything yet. That might take a little bit of time until everything loads in.
Everyone
now
is here.
slowly the world
For
is
a better
loading.
view, can head upstairs, Rego.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Wait, here. Now I'm out.
Uh-oh.
And
Come on, guys, it's a ladder, it's not that hard.
slowly loading in.
I
you can
hope we won't
already
get
see
any
it's pretty.
entity cramming with all those players.
Yeah, I guess let's just take a look around by flying over it. You can see there's quite a few slime farms in all kind of sizes. The reason they are differently sized is simply because we sometimes have multiple chunks next to each other. And in fact we've basically two of these towers with iron golems. Maybe you can see them. Right here. Yeah, for each chunk we have on two sides a tower with two iron golems, and they lure all the slimes off the platform. So the water that you see at the moment is only to prevent spawning. So at the moment they are all disabled. But as soon as we remove the water, slimes will spawn like crazy here. And what then happens is they land down in this water stream and get flushed into a nether portal. So we have a whole bunch of nether portals here. And those of you who have a bit of experience with nether portals, they create a ton of lag when entities are going through. So we did a few things to make it a bit better. First of all, we tried to minimize the number of nether portals. So you see they're not super wide, but we actually made them just wide enough to collect everything quickly, all the slimes, but at the same time make sure we have always slimes going through each part of the nether portal every couple seconds. So some caching algorithm in the game stays active. What this means is basically the game, so when a slime goes through the portal, the game tries to check where should it spawn in the nether. And searching for this place or for an existing portal in range, that's a lot of operations. It has to check a ton of blocks.
It actually has to check 8 million blocks each time.
Yeah, so you can imagine that takes a hell lot of time. And if there's a lot of slime spawning, that's just an insane amount of lag. So to improve this, the game has a caching mechanism, so if things go through the nether portal very frequently at the same place, then this part of the portal will actually remember its destination. So that makes it a bit better. It gets actually even better if we double the time for this caching. That this gets a bit more aggressively, so it stores this destination for a bit longer, because normally the game only stores it for a couple seconds. And yeah, thanks to Nemon, we improved on that a bit. So yeah, that's one thing to minimize the lag. It would also run without, and quite decently well, but yeah, no point in wasting performance when Minecraft is just not well optimized.
So
Next
limited
thing.
our farms at a survival limit, so we didn't make them faster or bigger just because we changed it. We just built them at a survival limit, vanilla survival, and later on that portal fix. Simply so if someone is AFKing the slime farm, someone else could do something else on the server without having sick or even less.
Oh, and someone just crashed into a wall. Yeah, so the next thing we have here are the dragon eggs. So in case you don't know that, so we basically replace the obsidian block with a dragon egg by dropping it down similar to as you would remove bedrock. And the reason for that is that if an entity goes through this portal, it will actually spawn below the portal on the nether side, so it would immediately drop down, and we'll see that in a bit. Yeah, so that helps us to get slimes out of the portal on the nether side a bit faster. And then we also had to play some additional tricks there. Yeah, we'll see that. So, yeah, Cass, do you have any questions so far? I guess not. Then I would say we all head back to the tower and activate the farm, because this thing is pretty cool to look at once it's running. Anyways, so we have those small windows here we can look out. Should we just activate half of the farms?
Oh, I
All
can't
right.
fly. I'm just stepping up there, climbing
There's
up the ladders here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are anyways
I
on the
like
first
flying.
layer here, so that's wholly possible. And which side?
I told you the ladder will be useful.
Oh yeah, we actually just installed that a few minutes ago.
Oh, that was a good
Now
Right.
we can just see the water disappearing from some of the farms. And the reason why we only activate some of them is because those farms already fill the mob cap for a single player. So if we would activate both farms, we would have a problem with the portals again.
This is
And-
amazing. Wow.
So the problem with the portals is, as I said, the game has this caching mechanism, but if it's too rarely that a slime goes through a certain part of the portal, then the caching will fail, and the next time a slime goes through, the game has to check 8 million blocks again. So we want to focus the spawns onto as few portals as possible, and as long as we only have enough spawns to fill a single player mob cap, we only want half the farms active. So this is focused. Now, we have a bunch of additional perimeters on the server, as some of you might be aware, and we actually have a second account, so with one of enemy spots here, just so we can all go to the nether instead of spawns for the tour. But we also have another bot account on a second perimeter to increase the mob cap. So it's just a bunch of additional chunks loaded by player, and well, there now no spawning can happen there. This is a completely empty perimeter. And due to that, we can actually activate the second part. And now let's try to get a glimpse. Maybe we can see the water disappearing. It takes quite a bit of time, so the signal is traveling through an observer line, and the observers are actually also part of the spawning platform here, which is quite nice. And you can already see slime spawning there. And immediately they start tracking the golems, the side towers. They fall down, go into the portal, and we'll see a lot of drops on the nether side. Did anyone actually activate the collection system?
Is there anybody actually in the nether?
We should better go there quickly before we get into trouble.
We have a chunk loading grid there.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, if we have too many drops and the collection isn't active,
That
Things
might
get a
not
bit
be that
hairy.
good.
Ooh, actually it's hooked up to the collection system, so we should get there quickly or the server would crash.
yeah, let's
I am here.
get up there. Yeah, so while I'm climbing up here, maybe another few facts. So I already mentioned we have something like 33 chunks. We weren't quite sure if we had one more or less, but something along this order. 33 chunks that we could use, but we're actually only using 24. So for a single player mob cap, 12 chunks are already sufficient. And let me get through. Yeah, there we are. And yeah, so basically if you have 12 chunks all in reach of one AFK position, that's completely sufficient for a single player. and only for special technical servers you need more, if you really want to go for the maximum. And there we go in the Nether. Let's wait for everyone to come through, but
I hope
this is
I don't die
definitely
again.
an impressive side. Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess the player to mob death ratio in this episode will still be pretty good, because there's a lot of mobs dying here.
Oh, I love
Besides
this
a
place.
lot of slimes.
Alrighty.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
down.
And that's the thing. So, with one problem here with the slimes, it's too many to see the portal. But if you look very carefully, you see there's no bottom of the portal. So, even though the slimes already spawn below the portal, we sometimes had the case that slime would die in the portal frame, and then all slimes would either go back to the overworld or just their drops would go back. So, yeah, that's a bit of a problem because it causes additional
Wow.
lag and all kind of problems. And yeah, we really don't want that. So we removed the bottom 2 obsidian blocks using an update suppression technique. So basically the way this works, I think Mango, you showed this also in one of your episodes.
Yes.
We attached a whole lot of banners to the block, so they would all pop off when the block gets mined, and that way we exceeded the limit of updates the game can do in a single tick. So when you break the block, all the banners pop off, and actually at some point it stops, and then the game basically hits this limit and forgets to update the portal, and therefore the portal stays active. So, yeah,
Man,
that's-
it looks like a slime spawner. Like, they spawn like crazy here.
Oh yeah, this
Feels
is
like creative, like you're spawning them using commands. So awesome.
Yep.
So efficient.
that's
brilliant.
pretty crazy.
Did we mention
And-
the raids yet?
No, I haven't. I just want to say that. So, the raids, if we would run it in single player mode, we would have something around 180k. We never really measured it super accurately because it's quite difficult at that scale. But yeah, single player, like no additional perimeter loaded by another player, we'd have something like 180k. But with 2 players, we are reaching 330,000 slime balls per hour.
Wow, you should call it the slime sprinkler.
Oh yeah, this one is
Wow.
it's really nuts. So the way it works is quite simple. Slimes simply drop down, and the first layer of slime, so the biggest ones, for example, or whatever size they have, they die right away. And then the medium and small slimes, they die very, very quickly on the magma blocks. But of course those blocks don't destroy any drops. So we can nicely collect them with a minecart system underneath. And my frames are dropping here when I'm getting too close. Holy heck. Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. Actually, we have a double layer of glass here, because otherwise the slimes would constantly glitch out. So
Safety
a
glass.
single layer shell here would not be enough. Simply when they're dying and spawning somewhere, they glitch through, and we would probably have to run away all the time. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So here we have an indicator for the intermediate storage for the slime balls, and a nice little crafting station. So you get the slime balls on one stage, on one side, put the slime blocks in here, and once it's full, it automatically breaks, or once that one's empty, you get a new shulker box.
I think we should mention the size of the killing chamber is intentionally so big, instead of like just one small drop chute, so we can spread them out and pick up the items easier.
So we really needed a large system here, and all kind of tricks, because the current pickup system could in principle handle up to 570,000 items per hour, and since we get up to 330,000, well, we're about at the same order of magnitude. So even just cutting the efficiency of the collecting system in half would not be sufficient, and the server would pretty much die to too many items being around. And that's why we were also a bit afraid when we forgot to activate the collection here. Because yeah, if you leave it running without the collection active, the server will die in, I don't know, a couple minutes. Just because so many items accumulate here. So I think we should have a way downstairs, right?
Yeah, behind the booth.
Behind here.
So let's take a quick look into this madness downstairs. Oh, one after another. Players colliding with other players. Best idea. I just want to enter down. Now I made it.
And chickens can't push you. Like chickens are super strong in Minecraft.
Oh
yeah. Rego killed me once with chickens. Was fun.
Oh yeah. That was actually a pretty funny thing. Anyways, so let's take a look at the monstrosity of a collection system. So what you can see here is a minecart system on top that picks up the items, and each minecart then actually gets emptied by something that's equivalent to 4 hoppers. So it's a bit laggy here. I apologize for the frame rate. But what happens, the minecart gets stuck here until it's unloaded. There's a bunch of additional hopper minecarts here that suck out the items very quickly. And then we have those hoppers here, which basically feed it into 4 paths. So 2 go to the side, 1 goes into this chest here, 1 goes to a chest on the very left, and the same thing on the other side. And for each minecart we have here, those are, I think, 18 minecarts. Mango, you know the numbers better than
20.
20? Okay. So we have 20 rows here, and each of them has 4 shulker box filling systems attached. So in total we are filling 80 shulker boxes at the same time, just to keep up with the speed of this farm. And can we open it? No, it's facing the wrong way.
Only in spectator.
Let's actually do that just to show you how fast this is filling. So let's take a look here.
How long would it
can
be
someone
per
set
power
cast
double
to-
chest slime balls? 50 seconds?
Yes, so
Yeah,
double
something
chest would
like
fill
that.
it. Yeah.
Fill fast enough. And this one is actually almost filled. Here, so...
Wow.
Okay, it's running a bit unreliable because we're really torturing the server here. But once it's filled, let's wait for a couple of seconds, we can actually see it being broken and a new one being dispensed. Maybe someone can put Cass in spectator as well, so you can take a look at the system in more detail.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I like the trick you guys used with the trapdoor. The way you power the trapdoor and then how the minecart bounces back and forth to make it unload faster. Really smart technique.
And now it's filled, and it should update every second. But need some time until the hopper has a large enough backlog. Now, there we go. So yeah, that's a pretty cool system, I think. Basically, as soon as this hopper here produces an update, it gets locked. So this is a really smart system, actually. So the way it works is, when this signal strength here from this comparator gets strong enough, it will actually power this hopper here. And since it changes its state when it gets powered, this observer will emit a pulse, and via this piston and observer, the pulse goes back into this piston and pushes down this observer to break the shulker box, and at the same time gives a signal, just before it gets retracted again, it gives a signal to the dispenser here, which places a new shulker box. So yeah, I think that's a really smart system to use. And then back here we basically just have a huge supply of shulker boxes, which get transported around. And yeah, the hoppers below here, of course, are just there to collect the shulker boxes and bring them to a storage.
Also mention the quality control for the shulker boxes.
Yeah. Where is it actually?
So all those hoppers, they lead to this system here. And it could actually happen that we get a chicken from those zombie pigmen that spawn in the portal blocks. And then it happens, the chicken goes to the other side, gets killed by the magma, and then feathers and chicken cock is picked up. And of course would contaminate the shulker box. That's why we spit out the shulker box once more of the dispenser. Then check if we have signal strength 15. If there's a feather in there, we only have 14, and we sort it out this way. So yeah, here you can see in this chest we put all the shulker boxes that have some chicken product in there. I can actually go back to game 0 and show you.
So here we have proper slime balls, but...
Yeah, there's a feather in there.
wait, which one is it?
This one here.
Just try.
This is just for additional slime balls, so I could put it back
Oh,
into the
yeah.
system. So
those,
break it again.
Boxes are sorted out, and yeah, we can then
Yeah.
manually
And this is
stock.
important for the crafting system, that we have
Yeah, so
fewer
you don't want
product.
to have waste items in there because they would be annoying for the crafting, especially if you use some scripts or whatever to automate it. Yeah, it's much nicer if it's well sorted.
Oh, I see some cake technology here.
Which side are you?
You
really
can
hard to-
get me back to game mode 0, so you guys
Ah.
can see me. Here, there's a cake here. I've seen this technique used very rarely in Minecraft. This is interesting.
Yeah, whenever you need signal strength 14, cake is great.
Yeah, so it never gives out a 15, right? As your full cake is 14 already.
Mhm.
That's a really nice thing to use. You just shouldn't be too hungry around here, because that might ruin the system. Yeah, but I think it's a pretty impressive thing. It's a very large, but still, for what it can do, a very compact collection system here.
So no
Yeah,
slime
considering
balls.
all it does, it's quite compact.
Yeah, so the slime balls get stored here into this intermediate storage. We also take an output with a comparator to light up those lamps, so we know how much is left.
So, I would say we head back up.
By the
Because-
way,
Yep.
when
Yes.
we started, we had 3 lamps on. Now we have 5 lamps on. So a lamp is around double chest at this point. So it's a bit over 100,000 items that we found just showing this off.
Yeah, so double
Just during
chest
the
meaning
time
a
we
double
were
chest
here.
of
Wow.
shulker boxes, right?
And the hopper loop that goes from the crafting system to the storage here, it's around like 300,000 items just before the first lamp turns on.
Yeah, simply because everything's stored in shulker boxes, the numbers explode. But we really need the storage. And yeah,
So we have like 10 hours before we have to empty the slime ball storage.
so imagine every lamp here, not even counting the hoppers, every lamp here represents a double chest, and they're being filled with shulker boxes full of slime balls. In 10 hours, all of those will be lit.
Wow.
Actually, by now a bit less, probably something like, I don't know, 8 hours? Or maybe 9. So, yeah, that's quite impressive, I think. But I would say, enough downstairs.
Maybe what
Let's head back
happens
up.
next, so those white boxes get filled with slime blocks, and then they get sent up to the main storage.
Alright, we are all back just outside the main hall. And here we're at our storage. So, once we've crafted those shulker boxes full of slime blocks, they go up here, just in a small storage. Bunch of shulker boxes in there at the moment. Yeah, probably not yet. And then we actually manually sort them into these chests. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of them. Now, you might ask, why do we do this manually? And the reason is, well, we needed some space on these chests. It's not directly visible, but there's actually something behind this wall which I think is pretty impressive. It's super amazing, actually. So, let's quickly walk around here. Just to
Actually,
give you an
maybe
idea.
let's head to the main hall. So you might be wondering how many blocks do we have by now. So we can quickly go to the main hall and actually check those displays. So at the moment we have 1.536 million slime blocks. And yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so how do we know this? This is the next part.
Yeah, so we don't change the lights here manually, of course. We actually have an additional thing here, namely the percentage at which the storage is filled. So, yeah, the 1.5 billion slime blocks are only about a quarter of the storage capacity we have. So in total, we have a storage capacity of about 5.9 million blocks. Everything here is filled. And yeah, Mango already mentioned there's a way how we know it. And that's simply by filling the boxes here. And having a bit of space behind them. So everything I've already quickly teased you now. Everything we have here is basically a huge counter and converter and whatnot. Maybe XCOM, you want to explain a bit?
Yeah. This first section over here is just basically grabbing the signals from the chests, and then they're like gotten from the competitors, and then just go into adders, and it just keeps adding all the numbers together to count the exact redstone signal from each chest, and then you get like an output of three. I think it's 3 lines. Yeah, 3 lines, and then those 3 lines basically have a hexadecimal value, indicating the exact number of redstone signals that come out of those chests. And then we do some math conversion from hexadecimal to decimal, and that's what the whole this whole right part, this whole large part to the right. Well, if you're looking this way, and then when the whole conversion is done, we multiply it with this last section over here is the multiplier. It multiplies the numbers together, and then we get the exact number of the amount of chests that have been filled with the slime.
Yeah, so basically we need to multiply it because, of course, here we get a number of, or something which is proportional to the number of shulker boxes in those chests.
Actually, the signal strength.
Yeah, I mean the signal strength is proportional to the number of items in there, right? So we get a number which in the end represents the number of shulker boxes, but we want the number of items, so we have to multiply them with a factor which converts from signal strength per shulker box to items. And yeah, this factor is here basically hard-coded in the wiring. And then it goes all the way over here, to the right-hand side. And yeah, and basically through this wall, we are powering the 7-segment displays on the other side.
One thing we didn't talk about yet is if you look behind these lines that bus to the display, the whole part basically starting around here, the back part, that's all for the percentage. That's a different multiplication.
Yeah, so there we actually normalize it to 100% at maximum. Like if the full strength would come in, yeah, we would have 100.
And then all those lines
then go over here.
Yeah, and then below the floor.
So that takes also quite some time, but ends up on the second display for the percentage.
As you might notice, we don't have like regular redstone lines here with repeaters or comparators because yeah, that would be quite tedious and quite slow if you have to place a comparator every 3rd or 4th block. So what we did is we inverted the signal and used the high side of the signal strength to carry this, the numbers. That's why we have those redstone
see, it's
blocks.
only like, how many blocks is it? 6 blocks. So yeah, we're basically always going back and forth and splitting it into a few more lanes. It's not really a digital converter or analog to digital converter, but something in between.
Here a decimal signal is transferred, that's why I can use the trick with the comparators.
Ah, right, that's why we have 6 lanes here.
Basically that's left from the 15.
10 states left, yeah. Yeah, that's quite nice. And then we end up on the percentage display over there.
Maybe you should also actually take something out of the chess. It takes about 15 seconds until the changed signal arrives. So let's take a look at it.
So we just took some stuff out. It's only going to be a small amount by which it changes. And I think the absolute number will change a bit earlier.
Yep.
So this one takes like 15 seconds, the other one about 20 seconds. And now you can see the numbers are slightly decreasing. Well, it takes a bit of time until it's fully correct. Now we're slightly below 1.5 million. Just by taking out a bunch of shulker boxes. And if you look over here, oh, we're now spot on at 25%.
25 exact. This is
So
awesome.
the accuracy at which we can measure things, given that we store the shulker boxes in a reasonable way and not just filling each chest to a certain threshold, I mean, then of course we would get some systematic shift, some systematic uncertainty in there, which kind of gives us a wrong result. But if we start filling them properly from the beginning to the end, then this 0.01% 90% level, or here the last digit, is about the accuracy of the whole system. So even though we only have like those 16 states per chest, we can still measure it fairly accurately.
Plus minus 5,000.
Yep.
Plus minus 5,000. So if I was to reverse engineer what you guys did here, it's a system summing up the signal strengths.
Mm-hmm.
So then you multiply by a constant
hex.
that will max out to 10,000, I would guess. And then you just place the decimal point after 2 decimals from the right side, and then you have the precision. So, and no pistons here. I see the shulker boxes as well. I know we are doing subtraction there. I know how we are setting up the things here, and I like the space that you had to work here with the golden blocks, man.
Yeah, this took around 10,000 golden blocks to build.
This whole area is amazing. Like, I love seeing the redstone around it. Like, we have this glass box here, so we can see everything working here. No pistons. I'm amazed.
You should stand here and we should take out some stuff and see the whole thing blinking.
Yes.
Oh yeah, let's do that. That's quite impressive. The accuracy is actually mostly limited by how accurately we can measure the chests. So, I mean, each chest has 54 slots, like each double chest, but we only get 16 states. And that's sort of already limiting us. So you can imagine it's around something like 3 to 4 shulker boxes, which make up 1 signal strength of a comparator coming from the chest. And so you can't really distinguish between 2 and 3 shulker boxes, for example. That's sort of what limits us.
Yeah, it was a bit underwhelming, so it's not blinking much.
Well, I guess it's a bit too silent in some sense.
Almost
Now it's actually
double
blinking
chest
a bit
out.
over here. See, there's some stuff happening.
Yeah, I can see some blinking.
It's probably hard to spot the signal strength changing so slightly.
You have some torches going on and off.
That at least we could see.
It's
So-
cool anyways. Like, I love silent systems. Brilliant. Really nice job, XCOM. Really nice job.
Oh, it's Mango. I would say it's Mango.
It was a team effort.
Oh,
Yeah, it was multiple people, I guess.
nice job, Bill Mango.
Don't blame me.
Really nice job.
I haven't done anything.
No.
I thought you, Mango, said it was you, but
He had the idea. So when XCOM joined the server, he said, we need to do something with computers. And I said, yeah, there's nothing much you can do in survival. And yeah, then I suggested that we actually build the storage here, and XCOM really liked the idea, and we did it more or less in 3 days to come up with the whole thing in creative. It was really fun because it was definitely something different for us. Nobody has ever done something with computers before. So it was really a nice challenge to do this system here.
Yeah, it's probably
Yes.
the best computer ever.
We use structural blocks.
Incredible.
oh, this is something we have in common, Real Mango. A small computer is something I have on my plans for my little series, my little survival series, and I couldn't imagine that you guys have done this already. Really cool.
I think we
Oh,
had
man.
a couple of roadblocks, a couple of times where we were building the whole thing. We got stuck on some math problems, and then we just kept thinking about it. And then I think it was like late at night. We all went to bed. I wake up the next day. I'm like, going, "How are we gonna do this? This is not gonna be possible." And then all of a sudden, Mango is like logging in, doing the copy pasting, and suddenly, like, he's talking to me about like, "I fixed it." I'm like, "What? Have you fixed it already?" And he had like already found out how to fix the whole thing.
Yeah, that's often the case with these kind of things. It's
I
not
think
good
this is
asleep
a-
and-
This is a thing with Redstoners. We can't sleep until we finish a project that is stuck in our minds. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Also, the original version of the adders and everything we used to build this thing was way bigger. And then we spent like a whole day just compacting down the adders. And actually those adders are stackable, so basically what you see here is 6 or 7 times the same adder as we used on the other side, for example. And The decimal and hex adders are almost the same, except that the decimal adders use different signal strengths. That's why you have the shulker boxes. And with the hex adders, we use redstone blocks for the full signal strength.
Yeah, I think we need about 5,000 or 6,000 comparators here.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, comparators everywhere.
I'll compare that to a usual build.
Oh, I
In
see
a not
that
so
line
crazy
back there.
thing.
And I know exactly what went through your minds. Like this line below there. Look at the backside there, with that line of comparators going straight to the right side. You guys didn't want to use redstone dust, right?
Yeah.
I know what you think.
No, the problem is that comparators like have this really bad property of you can't put redstone in between. So it's like you're forced to put comparators against comparators, and it basically makes things even slower. The signal has to travel through every single comparator.
Oh.
I guess it's something for Mojang. Hopefully they will give us some kind of a busing block so that we can send redstone signals quickly.
Are you for real? You mean you can't place redstone in between the chain of
No, like you
comparators?
cannot
What do you mean
place
exactly?
two redstone next to each other, because then you lose signal strength again. We could have used like every
So it's an
second
analog line.
comparator. Could have used dust there. We did that in some places as well, but for there.
Interesting.
before
It was
that,
actually beneficial to use more comparators here, so it's a bit more synchronized. So I saw the 7-segment display blinking. We didn't perfectly synchronize it. So this was just one effort to at least make it a little bit better.
Interesting. I didn't know about that. We'll for sure watch for this in the future, in my future designs.
Yeah, so basically the signal travel times of the individual components of the signal, so to speak, with the different digits, if you want to say so. Yeah, if they are more similar, then things don't blink that crazily.
Yeah. But it's also not really possible to synchronize it perfectly with the system, and it didn't even try.
Yeah, I guess that would be even more insane. But, yeah, do we have anything else?
I think that's it.
I don't think so. So, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, this tour. Thanks again, Cass, for joining us. So
Thanks
again,
for having me.
Yeah, again, if you don't know his channel yet, be sure to check him out. His channel is called MaizumaGames. And no, he's not called MaizumaGames himself.
Yay!
People tend to confuse that.
A lot.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for naming your channel differently than yourself.
That's what I get, and I'm hooked. Guys, thank you very much for inviting me. That was an amazing tour. You guys have something really great going on here, and awesome.
Oh man,
awesome
it's getting really crazy here.
But
Anyways,
this guy here, I have a beef to pick with you, you know?
oh yeah. So, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this episode will stick in your minds for a bit. Yeah. That was Mango Slap for an attempt of a bad pun. Yeah. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Hello, universe.
Maybe you don't have armor on.
GG.
That is the third time today.
Oh.
Rip.
Wow. That's special. Alright. That's a
But I was so slow, that was the smoothest landing ever. I have it on video.
I had the same thing at some point.